Okay, if your hbA1C is going up, and let's say, you're not above that 5.7% yet, but it's definitely on the rise. And you're like, what the hell is going on? How could I possibly be insulin resistant? Here's what's up. You might be borderline low thyroid. Here's why. Thyroid so impacts how your body uses insulin. It impacts how insulin resistant your cells are, impacts how your body, the cellular uptake of glucose from the bloodstream, plays a role in crazy long things, the names of crazy long things like gluconeogenesis and glycolysis, and like all of the pathways of how the body regulates and uses and metabolizes blood sugar. Now, here's the good news. If you think you might be borderline, or if you see that your hbA1C is going up, what can you do? Basic, basic, basic. First line is be sure you are getting enough iodine in your day. And if you're like, I use iodized salt, no, that ain't enough. Okay. When we're talking iodine, here's what's up. The thyroid absolutely needs, so the two thyroid hormones, T3 and T4, both contain iodine. T3 contains 3 atoms of iodine. T4 contains 4 atoms of iodine. Easy way to remember that. T3 contains 3 iodines. T4 contains 4 iodines. Okay. Now, so that means you have to have iodine in your body to make thyroid hormone. Otherwise, you ain't making it. Now, here's the other thing. Other halogens, like fluoride, like chloride, and like bromide, compete with the iodine receptors in your thyroid gland. Now, chloride, like sodium chloride, like table salt, the body knows how to handle that. That's been around for, well, as long as humans have been on Earth, and even predates that. So you're good there. Bromide and fluoride, though, have no right to be in your body. Okay. So fluoride-free water, like a filter that actually filters out fluoride, yes, you want one of those. And it's hard to find filters that actually filter out fluoride in your water. So a link to a couple of them is down in the show notes. Bromide, back during the 1970s, flour, so regular flour for baking, it used to be iodated, meaning they would add iodine to it as a conditioning agent. Iodine was replaced with bromide in our flour. So you're getting exposed to bromide in baked goods. You are getting exposed to bromide because it is now used commonly as a flame retardant on lots of different textiles. So from mattresses to carpet to whatever it may be. And we've got to displace both the fluoride and the bromide from the iodine receptors in the thyroid. So that means that you probably want to be getting over your RDA of iodine a day. My general rule of thumb is to get about 325 micrograms of iodine a day. That's kind of like my bare minimum. I will typically do between 325 and 650 micrograms of iodine a day. I have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, and I still take it. Now, can you get too much iodine? There is one sector out there. There's kind of like 3 doctors in this group who firmly believe that up to 50 milligrams of iodine a day, which is a lot of iodine, is okay. And there's a whole bunch of people out there who take like 50 milligrams of iodine a day. I think that's too much. Like, I think if you're having to take that much a day, you need to be looking at what else is going on and addressing it instead of continuing to take 50 milligrams a day. Studies show that the Japanese population consumes about 12 milligrams of iodine a day. Is that too much? I don't know. I take, once again, the RDA is 150 micrograms. I take between 325 and 650 a day micrograms. So that's like 0.3 to 0.6 mgs a day. So well under even what Japanese populations are eating. That's thing one, being sure that you get enough selenium in your diet. So the thyroid, the way that the thyroid makes thyroid hormone is relying on selenoenzymes. Seleno implies that these enzymes need selenium in order to do their job. That's why they are selenoenzymes. They need selenium. They are selenium dependent enzymes in the body. Now, selenium you can get too much of. There are certain regions of the country, so this is where you'd want to check, where the water is naturally rich in selenium. If you eat Brazil nuts, your chances are you're already meeting your daily dose of selenium. With selenium, 50 micrograms of selenomethionine. Selenomethionine is a good bioavailable form. It's kind of like RDA or right at RDA. If you have an autoimmune thyroid condition, whether it's Hashimoto's or Graves', a lot of times endocrinologists will recommend a lot more selenium for those specific patient populations. But otherwise, you know, you can overdo it on selenium, so just keep that in mind. I believe the toxicity is around, it's been a minute since I looked at this, so I'm just going to throw it out there, but take it with a grain of salt. I believe it's around 400 micrograms a day. So it's not, you know, that high. And then the other thing, like if you start supplementing with both iodine and selenium, well, actually, I'm going to throw out one more thing. Another great way to support your body with managing insulin and restoring insulin sensitivity is being sure that you get enough B multivitamin a day. And like B, all of the Bs. Every single B vitamin except one is involved in healthy insulin regulation in the body and even insulin production within the body. So being sure you are getting enough B complex, and once again, this is all your Bs. For the most part, because Bs are water soluble, for the most part, there is low risk of toxicity from any of these, the exception being niacin. You don't want too much niacin a day. That's just bad things will happen. It can cause like facial flushing. It can cause like sensitization and kind of make your heart palps kind of worse. So being just conscious of how much niacin you're getting in all of your B complex. I've got kind of two favorite B vitamins that I take each day. One is whole food methylated form of B vitamins, and the other one is Kirkland brand. And I will take multi doses, small doses throughout the day. So I split up, and I'm taking about the equivalent of a half of each a day, which is still a lot of B. And with the B, the thing is that magnesium is a cofactor a lot of times with B vitamins. So all of these vitamins that are essential to health, a lot of times they are used in enzymatic processes within the body. So just normal biochemical processes in your body. And with those, a lot of times they have cofactors. So magnesium is a super important cofactor for lots of enzymatic processes in the body, especially ones that use B vitamins. So being sure that you're taking magnesium when you take your B vitamin, even if it's in the morning. Like I know a lot of people are like, oh no, you need to take magnesium at the end of the day. That's kind of bull. If I take magnesium too close to bedtime, I'm staying awake all night, like just full stop. So I split my magnesium doses and take it alongside the B multiple times throughout the day, typically 2 to 3 times throughout the day, no later than 6 p.m. for the B vitamin, and even that's kind of pushing it. Magnesium, sometimes I will take a final dose as late as like 7, maybe 8 p.m. That's kind of pushing it on that. For the magnesium, good bioavailable forms are either magnesium glycinate or sometimes magnesium bisglycinate or magnesium malate. I also take magnesium citrate, but Morley Robbins, who is he's huge into studying copper and how copper is utilized throughout the body. He's a huge proponent of avoiding magnesium citrate. As a matter of fact, he's a huge proponent of avoiding anything citrate. Like he does not like citrate. So for that reason, ever since I've heard Morley kind of speak to this, and I have not researched this on my own, I'm just, going with what Morley says on this until I have the bandwidth and the time to research it myself. But for now, I'm like, okay, Morley, I'll avoid the citrate. I'll give you that. I'll look into either the malleate or like I'd been using the glycinate anyways, but also the malleate. Let's see. And then, so if you take these for a while, so this is like my go-to first pass with anybody that's seeing elevated levels of hbA1C. And then let's say you do this diligently, where you're taking these additional, once again, these are essential nutrients, and you're being sure that you get these daily. And you do this for like, I would say a month and a half at least. And then you get your hbA1C retested, and it hasn't changed or it's worse. That's where we need to go ahead and look and order a full thyroid panel. And if you're unsure what a full thyroid panel is, it is not TSH. TSH is made by the pituitary. It is not made by the thyroid gland. A full thyroid panel includes testing the two thyroid antibodies, anti-TG and anti-TPO, in addition to the complete thyroid hormone, including reverse T3. So for that full list, click the link below, sign up, because there's more that I did not cover. Don't want anybody's eyes to glaze over. Click the link below to download your free list of all of the thyroid hormones that need to be tested and the thyroid antibodies that need to be tested for a complete picture of thyroid health. In addition to that, because that is not the full story, the other piece to this is cortisol. And I don't want this video to get crazy long, so we're not going to cover all of cortisol here. I'm going to throw it out there. Thyroid and cortisol are best buds. The cortisol levels have to be right to get thyroid hormone out of your bloodstream and into your body's cells where they can actually do their job. So it's my current kind of standard practice to have people test thyroid first, and let's see what that looks like before following up with cortisol. Is that the right approach? I don't know. I could be talked into testing both at the same time, because if your cortisol is off, what happens a lot of times is all of your thyroid levels are on point, but you still feel like crap. You're still experiencing symptoms of hypothyroidism, of low thyroid. You're still got this insulin resistance going on, and it's because cortisol's out of whack. So is testing both at the right time? Yeah, maybe that's a better approach. And how do you test cortisol? Well, you do a 4-point saliva cortisol test. This is where you test it in the morning, you test it again midday, mid-afternoon, so like 3, 4, 5 p.m., something like that, and at bedtime. And what we expect to see when your cortisol levels are healthy is we expect to see the highest value in the morning. We expect to see kind of fall off kind of like a hill, and then to plateau in the evening with the lowest cortisol level right at bedtime. So that's healthy. And it needs to be like, cortisol levels have to be optimal for this thyroid hormone uptake from the bloodstream into the cells. So this is why, like for anybody out there that's on thyroid medication, this is why you're told to take your thyroid hormone in the morning. Because if you take it too late in the day, what this is going to do is actually stimulate the body, stimulate the adrenals to release more cortisol. That's why you wind up having heart palps with your thyroid medication. This is also why for anybody that has not, like if you're newly diagnosed with a thyroid problem, or you just haven't been treated correctly for a really long time because your doctor didn't know what they were doing, then what happens is chances are really high that your cortisol is completely out of whack. And if you try to take too much thyroid hormone at once, then you wind up with the heart palps and like all the crazy things. And it's not because the thyroid medication's too high, it's because you need to be titrated up more slowly because your adrenals, your cortisol levels are out of whack. So anyway, like I said, we'll get into cortisol more on other videos. Just wanted to cover, but last thing on cortisol. Cortisol also hugely, like probably even more so than thyroid hormone. Although it's hard to say because, like I say, like separating those two is tough. Um, Cortisol impacts how your body uses blood sugar. Okay. And it can drastically impact and influence and create insulin resistance if your cortisol levels are off. All right. And whether they're high or low doesn't really matter. Out of whack, like not optimal. All right, if you know someone who would benefit from this video, send this to them, send the link to them. Be sure you subscribe to the channel, pick up your fruit below. All right, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.